everyone. This is episode 6 of our Sculpture School podcast, like Sculpture Secrets Revealed. And for all new listeners, we're just going to do a quick introduction of who we all are. So I think we should maybe start with Andy first.
Yes, damn. I'm Andy. I am the main tutor at the Sculpture School and also one of the directors, along with my wife.
Thank you very much. Maybe if we go to Diane next, who is Andy's
I'm the wife. I'm Diane Coates-Sinclair, and I'm a director of the Sculpture School.
And we've got a special guest today.
Yes, special guest.
My name's Lucy Dorvern. I did the 1-year course at the Sculpture School a few years ago, and now work as a professional animal sculptor.
Thank you, Lucy. And I'm Lindsay John Bauer, and I work as the Creative Arts Executive at the Sculpture School and help with outreach and all sorts of different things. So that's who we all are. So everyone, how's your week been, or last couple of weeks since we last met up?
It's been okay. We've had a few trials with bank fraud.
Oh my goodness.
Which wasn't much fun. So I spent quite a few days sorting that out. But other than that, we're fine.
I think, well, it just shows like how everyone's impacted by fraud seemingly at the moment, doesn't it? And that we've all got to be sort of super vigilant, and we sort of learn. I don't mean that you weren't, obviously, but I mean we people are so crafty at the moment, aren't they, with the different things they use.
Except for these guys use an old-fashioned way, and they used a check fraud, which was very rare.
Which caught the bank out because they are specialising in cyber fraud.
Yeah, of course.
And online and card fraud. Yeah. Forgotten how to deal with check things.
Yeah.
So it's been very traumatic.
Yeah.
But other than that, sculpture-wise, health-wise, everything else, we're very happy.
And we've been making the most of the sunshine.
We have.
And you went to a lovely wedding as well, didn't you?
Oh, that was a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, so
we've been enjoying the sunshine.
Sunshine.
Yeah.
Oh. Lucy, what have you been up to? Anything?
I've been a little bit busy.
Yeah.
It's particularly this time of year, there are so many exhibitions kicking off. Really. So a lot of my time's like running around the country, delivering things to various exhibitions.
You've got precious cargo.
Yes. So, that's mainly what I've been up to.
Lucy, just because I'm in the studio with her, is doing everything by herself. She's doing all the sculpting, she's doing the moulding and casting herself. And she's rushing around sorting out exhibitions, and she's sorting out her dogs. I do take my hat off to you.
Thank you.
It is very, very hard work. I have got Diane, and outside of that, I'm completely useless. But Lucy's doing the whole lot. So
you do help.
I look on her with great pride.
So I sort of have to be an Andy and a Di, combined, plus looking after dogs. So it's like several jobs at once.
And she's there 7 days a week, which is awful.
So I haven't been making the most of the sunshine.
I think
why she's all pale.
That's what we can sort of maybe mention a little bit, as we go along as well, in the fact that sometimes with the work you do, it's kind of peaks and troughs, isn't it? So when you've got these peaks, you're sort of, it might be beautiful and sunny outside, but you've got a commission or an exhibition to prepare for.
I think the thing is that if you really want something and really want to make a success of it, you have to go for it.
Yeah.
And I really believe that you get out what you put in.
Okay. You have to work hard to get going. You really do.
So it has to be, you have to feel passionate about it. Otherwise, you'd never be able to sustain that, apart from anything else. But I think it's, and a lot of it is down to hard graft, to be honest.
So let's rewind a little bit and hear more about you, because so far in our episodes we haven't really covered animal sculpture very much, have we? And today,
or the 1-year course, actually. We haven't talked about that very much either.
So today we're gonna really feature both of those aspects. And we're so pleased to have Lucy with us, and she's like a mainstay at the Sculpture School now. We feel like
they couldn't get rid of me.
Believe me, we've tried. We've tried.
They bolted the doors and sorts of things, and,
even if we lock the gates.
Lucy and I always have lovely chats about dogs, because we've both got crazy dogs. But also, I feel like at the Sculpture School is very much a sense of community with the different sculptors that are there and different people that come and go and facilitate everything that goes on there. But we're going to talk lots to Lucy, and we're all going to be asking Lucy questions today and sort of hearing about your career and everything. But I guess first of all, Lucy, I don't know an awful lot about your life before you came into sculpting. So, could you tell us a little bit about that?
I've done one or two different things in my life. I've had quite a sort of eclectic career, really. But I think the mainstay with me has always been animals, and particularly wildlife. I didn't get off to the best of starts in life. Art school dropout and so on. So I have got art in my background.
Okay.
But I think, I was very lost when I was very young. I think the animals, creativity and science have been major threads in my life all the way through. And I spent about 25 years working in filmmaking, starting documentaries and then specialising in wildlife. And then moved into conservation and did my first master's, which was gorilla conservation. And then PhD in chimpanzee conservation.
Wow.
Then having sort of thoroughly burnt myself out with all of that and deciding that I was getting a little bit old for running up and down mountains after chimpanzees.
Yes, because you were actually in Africa studying them, weren't you? I mean, it's quite something.
I've spent a lot of my adult life in and out of Africa. And actually, I came to scientifically specialise in apes because I worked on a lot of chimpanzee films.
Right.
In Gombe National Park in Tanzania, Jane Goodall's.
I was going to say, didn't you work with Jane, the very famous
Jane Goodall?
Jane Goodall,
yes.
Jane Goodall. I've met Jane. I didn't work with Jane. She had, she was, as she still is actually at the incredible age of about 93, still travelling around the world.
Amazing,
she's incredible.
She's still beautiful.
She is. She really is. She looks so frail and fragile, but she's got this sort of rod of steel running through her. She's an incredible woman. So she, obviously, she sadly has little time these days to spend at Gombe. But she'd sort of, every year she'd have a few sacred weeks there. So that's when I met her.
It was a fantastic experience.
Yeah. But I think what was interesting, because I've worked with a lot of different species, and I think my heart had always been with carnivores, like sort of wolves and big cats.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was really with chimpanzees.
No, well, when I was first offered work with chimpanzees, I was chimpanzee filming. I was like, oh, okay, whatever, and I really wanted to go back to my big cats. At that stage.
Right. Gosh,
but it's that thing that very quickly you forget that there are different species. They're just it really is like looking into the mirror, of our sort of ancestors. And there's something. It's very grounding, actually, because there are so many elements that are the same, like child development or things, like weaning tantrums and all those sorts of things that little ones have. Yeah, I was very honoured, actually, very privileged, and they very quickly, got beneath my skin. And the people that I was working with, we'd, we would forget they were different. We'd be like talking about relatives that you hadn't seen for a while, like how's so and so, and who's doing what to whom, and this sort of thing. So it really was. They have a big place in my heart, actually. And it was the chimps specifically, and the issues that were going in Gombe that really motivated me to move into conservation and study, more academically. So.
Lucy, Diane,
so when are you going to produce a chimp sculpture?
Well, that is a plan. That is a plan.
The next series.
Yes, there was one particular chimpanzee called Freud, and he was a really beautiful, benign alpha male. And he was such a he was so well named because he really was a sort of thinker. And he'd take himself off into the forest, and he sort of sit there like that and sort of contemplate life and watch the butterflies. And, he was a real gentle soul, very, very special. He was always my favourite. So, and he had this very particular pose. He'd sort of sit there like this, contemplating
just
life.
like a thinker.
I was going to say, like Rodin's thinker.
Exactly.
So lovely as well that you can sort of translate or transfer, like sort of what we think of as classical human poses into animals.
Absolutely. And I think it's, I think with what I'm doing now, it's very much, thinking about Freud, who he is as an individual. It's the essence of who he is, and that, what makes him tick as a particular individual.
His spirit.
The spirit, yeah.
Lucy, did you say you worked with gorillas as well?
That was for my first master's. I worked with Cross River gorillas in Cameroon.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. And again, like when you were saying about getting to know like the chimpanzees, like with their families. And I was just thinking, I remember going to Clifton Zoo in Bristol and watching a family of gorillas there. And the little one was having like a massive tantrum. And, like,
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Well, that's what I observed a lot with chimpanzees. Because obviously in Gombe, well, not obviously, but they're all habituated. So they just treat you like you're a bit of the forest furniture, really, like just another rather clumsy two-legged species trundling around after them, trying to keep up with them, which is in most cases almost impossible. Suddenly if they got sick of us, they just like melt off into the trees,
Amazing.
Sort of three-dimensional disappearing up and down and under.
It just sounds like such a fascinating career. So you went from sort of filmmaking and then conservation, and then how did you end up in Devon and sculpting?
Well, it was after, it was actually when I was writing out my PhD. I took on, I've always loved dogs, and I've had collies in the past. And I was writing out my PhD, and I thought I really struggled to get used to living back in the UK. Because it was just, I wasn't used to four walls and all of that. It was just, I felt the most massive culture shock.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Far more than actually going out to places like Africa. And I thought, I cannot survive in this country without a dog.
Yeah.
So I took on this young border collie, Luna, who was, and she'd been kept in a first floor flat in Birmingham, and she was going completely nuts. I mean, literally, she was, the epitome of a mad dog. And she was, lunging at me and taking lumps out of me and meaning it. And so I was thinking, what on earth do I do with a mad border collie? So I just started researching more and more and more. And then she really sort of hijacked me, I think. She sort of hijacked my life. So I ended up for my sins, doing another master's, second master's in applied animal behaviour.
Okay.
Specifically with dogs. So
Driven by Luna.
Yeah. She was
a dog shrink.
Yes, I am. Well, I needed to be. And it was as if she said, no, you don't need to be doing all of that business out there. You need to be doing this. And so she hauled me off what I was doing. And so she was that inspiration, really, and that motivation. So I was doing that for quite some time.
Right. Okay.
But a lot of things, long story short, a lot of things changed, not just due to COVID, but around that time, I had a lot of very difficult experiences, and a lot of things, life went rather sort of tits up, really, in various ways. And it really, and also I was really burning out and struggling with my business during COVID and all that kind of thing, like many people were. And I had to really reassess what I was doing. And I was suffering from burnout. I had chronic fatigue.
Right, okay.
So I was really quite ill and struggling a lot, various things. So, and also around that time, or just prior to that, I was diagnosed as being neurodivergent with a mixture of autism and ADHD.
Okay.
I already knew that I had dyslexia, so I've got, the full pack.
But
makes you a proper artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Proper
it
weirdo.
Makes you more interesting.
But the thing is that I think that it was a massive point of reassessing my life. And, because although I'd done all these supposedly amazing things, a lot of it was motivated out of, so where do I fit? Where's my place in the world? Where do I belong?
Yeah, with monkeys.
Yes.
They're not monkeys.
No, exactly. You get a slap for that.
Monkeys have tails.
It's that whole thing though of I think COVID was such a massive kind of crossroads for so many people.
It really was,
forced, such an evaluation of life and ambition and goals and a complete sort of mindset change for lots of people.
I mean, this was, that diagnosis and everything was prior to that. So it was already, things were already changing in my life. And I suppose it was the sort of icing on the cake in some ways. But I think, that people talk about I don't know, these neurodivergent, labels and things. But it's so much more than that, because it's really about thinking about, trying to figure out who I was and where I fit in the world, having never felt I fitted in anywhere, and feeling, not understanding why. And then it's really helped me reassess my life, actually, quite profoundly. And, also get over an awful lot of anger and grief about past and why things hadn't worked, and, being misunderstood, and all of these sorts of things, which a lot of neurodivergent people have.
Then you met us and it got a lot worse.
And then we scooped you up to join our nut house.
Birds of a feather, as they say.
How did you? Yeah, because I don't quite know how you found Diane and in Sculptor School.
Well, it was all a part of the same thing, actually. Roughly around the same time. I mean, a lot of very, very difficult things happened, which I won't go into. But I found that I was suddenly, through this massive reassessment and burnout and being quite ill as well. I just started to get this really fundamental burning urge to get hands-on creative again.
Right, okay.
Which I had been when I was much, much younger. But, I had sort of, life had taken me in different directions, and, so on.
It's interesting how you find, we certainly find at the school, how people have a whole career and then there's a desperate need to find some sort of creativity. I think it's an interesting phenomena.
It is, and it's very, very grounding. Particularly if things have been quite difficult, to get back into something that's practically creative is actually it's incredibly therapeutic. And I was I was literally pulling earth out of the ground. I think I've got to create. I've got to do something. I've got to do something. I'd always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to do animal sculpture, always, because it's it's probably the one thing that I'd always had an inkling of that I'd never actually explored. So it became almost like a sort of burning need to create around where my passion was. And so I started looking around, thinking, I've got to do this. I've got to do it. And I thought, I could go anywhere in the country. I realised that actually the only place where I could really do what I wanted to do was just down the road. It's like, so sometimes you get that sort of synchronicity.
It's a shame because you were looking forward to going to Birmingham.
Having nice Scotland. No, it is that. Yeah, it is a strange phenomenon that sometimes what you're looking for is actually right under your nose, isn't it? Yeah.
I think we sometimes end. Things might dissolve in life for a reason, and it's like I don't know. It sort of brings you back down to earth and really, really assessing what you really need.
A little bit of serendipity. And
yes, absolutely. I think the right place,
the universe
right time,
talking to you or whatever.
Absolutely.
You reach that point where you have to stop and listen.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I remember bumping into a student I used to teach called Tom, and he was about to go to university, and he was like such a lovely guy. And I was like, "Oh, Tom, do you know what you want to do after university?" I think he was doing maybe economics and something, and he was like, "Well, I'm just going to see where life takes me." And I really like that kind of ethos, and it sounds like life has taken you on this journey and took you to the Sculptor School, and maybe you thought that at that point in time you were going to be somewhere else in the UK, but obviously just down the road.
I think it was the fundamental was it's bringing together the threads of my life, really. My passion for animals, my scientific mind and my creativity. It's all those threads coming together. And the thing that I think is unique about the Sculptor School and the way that Andy's method and the way Andy teaches is that it's very based on anatomy, and you're thinking about whatever species it is, human or whatever, from the inside out and building from the inside out. And I think to me that made a lot of sense. Apart from the fact I think that I discovered my family, my sculpture family, my creative family, in
your
a way.
Tribe.
Yeah, my tribe, exactly. And the place where I seem to fit in the world.
Yeah.
Which is, it's only taken me 60-something years.
You're a spring chicken.
But, it's never too late.
No.
I think, sometimes it takes a while to find the right place in life, you know.
I think as you get older, you get more reflective as well. That desire for creativity overcomes the desire to make loads of money.
Yes.
And because we're teaching a lot of older students, and they've all had very conventional lifestyles, and they've earned money and they've done well. But then they find, just like you found, they've got this burning desire to do something creative.
And there's something missing.
Yeah.
And I feel that and believe that so strongly because my whole life's been dedicated to that. I never was sensible, never did get sensible. In fact, my former partner, when we broke up, said, well, there you go. You're going to have to get a proper job now, like everybody else.
I've been hearing that my whole life. It's like, I really should get a proper job.
What's interesting about what you're saying is that I think that life should be like a book, and it should be chapters. These chapters are fantastically different. It's not the same. It's not I got up at 9 o'clock and I went to work and I came home at 7 o'clock or whatever it might be. Every day is different. And what you've done with your life is incredible. I mean, it is quite amazing. It's no wonder you felt such a crushing sense of depression when you came back to England and that adventure was over and you had to find something else.
And now you've got a new adventure.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
What was...
Damn.
So I'm never going to be rich then, obviously.
I often think of life as a patchwork quilt, and it's all these different sections of your quilt, but you look at the whole thing in the round, and it's like all these different bits of colour that all come together to form you, you know, your exciting life. And like you don't know where it's going to go, what square is going to be next in your patchwork quilt. But so Lucy, did you apply to do like a one-day course with the sculpture school, or what happened?
Once I discovered it was there. And I actually spoke to you originally, and I wanted to do the 4-day animal course, and which was full. And then you phoned me up and said, "Oh, I've got to pay," and I was like, "Yes," immediately, and that was it. Yes, I'll be there tomorrow or whenever it was. You know, and I think it's an interesting thing. I think you know, thinking about learning when you're older. I mean, I've had this a few times, obviously, because I studied quite. You know, in lots of quite difficult subjects as a mature student. And it's that thing of being a beginner again.
Yeah, sure.
And how, so being open to the vulnerability of that, really. And accepting knowing nothing and not being fazed by that.
Yeah.
And I remember the first day of that first course that I did, that animal course. Honestly, I was so nervous that I couldn't. My hand was like shaking, like so I couldn't. I didn't think I'd be able to sculpt anything at all.
What was it? Just thinking for people listening to the podcast who maybe are a little bit in the situation that you were in before you came, and just want to know what it was like coming into the sculpture school, like that first morning.
Oh, terrifying!
Yeah. And, what were
we were nice to you though.
You're fairly nice.
Well, we tried.
Not too intimidating, but you know, it is that thing of vulnerability when you really want something and it means a lot to you, but actually being open to that and not worrying about that, because I think that what's really important is that so many people feel the same.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Did so when you came through the doors, I guess you're like looking around. Did people come and talk to you, or what?
To be honest, I don't really remember that.
Don't remember.
I just remember my fear.
Yeah. Oh. And then, so was it a 4-day course?
Yeah, it was the animal course. It was the first one I did. I did a dog, obviously, which I still have.
Yeah.
Yes, I still have my first dog.
Did you cast it?
No, I didn't. No, it's just in clay. Yeah. But it's somehow survived.
Yeah.
Like a trophy.
Still sitting there. Yeah. And it's actually, I looked at it and thinking, that's all right. Actually.
Yeah.
So,
it was nice to keep your first piece, actually. It's nice to have it there.
Yeah, definitely.
Watch your progress.
Yeah.
Did you ever want to do a human course at all, or were you always? Because I find like when I ring up our website leads, people are generally quite categoric whether they want to sculpt humans or animals. Were you ever tempted to have a go at human sculpture?
Well, I did a little bit of, about 100 years ago, I did a little bit of sculpture then. And I absolutely, which is one of the reasons it's been burning ever since, really, but specifically for animals.
Right, okay.
But back then I did, that was human figurative. And I absolutely loved it. And, but it was one of those things, life just took me in a different direction at that point. So I didn't pursue it, but I could have pursued it at that point. And I think when I first started at the sculpture school, although I do have the burning passion for animals. Doing the 1 year course, I was obviously open to doing the human as well, because particularly out of my experience of having done a bit of figurative before, and it's actually been very, very useful to do both and learn the anatomy. Like I said, the science side I love. The way that muscles work. I do genuinely find it fascinating.
Yeah.
And it helps. Yeah, and it once you really, really understand all of that, and it becomes like a part of you, a second nature, it sort of almost sets you free.
What was the actual 1 year course like, Lucy? So what was the structure of it like, and how did you combine?
It's cruel, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. There's a lot of abuse.
Rocking in a corner somewhere.
Yes, about the views.
Yeah.
It's quite intensive. But I think it's one of those things, again, that you get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah, sure.
If everyone does, on the 1 year course, does all the monthly courses. But I think the real value is what you do in between.
Right.
And then there's the studying and, of the anatomy and so on. And, I think people can be quite resistant to that.
I was just going to say there are a few students that are quite resistant to learning their anatomy. No names, no facts. We might invite them on at a later stage.
But I think it's one of those things that you chip away at until because I assist Andy on all the courses anyway now. That refreshes it for me all the time. Yeah. So that's actually helped tremendously. And that other thing of assisting is that it taught me very quickly to problem solve. So to be able to look at something and think, what's wrong with that? And figure it out and figure out how to fix it because I had to. And I think that really, really helped accelerate my development, for sure.
And you learn more when you're teaching than just being passive, don't you?
To me, it's about getting the students as soon as they're able, even before they're able actually, to start assisting with the teaching, because it's that constant repetition and solving other people's problems that gives you those moments of epiphany, really, where you suddenly think, oh God, of course, that's how it works.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing else that can do that, I don't think, even though it can be difficult.
And also on just about every course you teach, you always find that you learn something new or you discover something else.
That's it.
That you hadn't twigged, and even after 30 years, and is thinking,
well, I'm a bit slow.
But it's really interesting though that you can be told something a number of times, but it might be that the fifth or sixth time, and you suddenly think, oh yes, I get it. And by that repetition, it's suddenly the penny will drop on something, and that'll change every time.
Penny certainly dropped for you though, didn't it? Because look at what you've produced now, these are Lucy's sculptures. We're going to talk about those in a minute. But so you were sort of embarking on this 1 year course, and how did you find? What were the highs and lows of the course? Can you think of any that maybe stand out?
Homework wasn't great. I think for me that I did quite early on really, really feel that I wanted to just focus on the animal.
Yeah.
So trying to balance both was quite hard. But I think you have to do what you're passionate about. You really do. It's otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
It's. I think having the foundation is great, and that's really necessary. But once that's there, then you really, really have to go with what inspires you.
Go with it. Yeah. Di, how does the 1 year course work in terms of attendance and what's involved during a year? So if someone wanted to sign up, someone listening to this, what would they do?
Students are, when they sign up, we've actually become a lot more flexible since we started it. So we're very happy for people to join at any time of the year now, because the courses all run in rotation. But the expectation is that when a student joins us, they attend every 4-day course. They also are given assignments in between each course, and also they're expected to finish the sculpture that they did on the course in time for the next workshop, so that we can then go through the homework, see how much they've learned,
And praise the progress.
Yes, it does. And also then we test them. They're not serious tests, but we do quiz them so that they're given charts. They have to fill in all the names of the muscles or what are the rules of thumb. And we like to see evidence of their learning in the actual practical homework, the sculpture. And we also offer a moulding and casting course and 2 écorché courses to the 1-year students. And that backs up the anatomical learning, doesn't it? And then at the end of the course, if they've attended all of them and they've done all their homework, then there's a certificate at the end.
Oh, fantastic. There's also, am I right in thinking, you need your certificate. You've won an award, but not got the certificate.
Did you not get a certificate?
No.
Yeah.
Well, so can't get the staff these days. Just get.
I think all the students disappeared in a rush.
Oh,
and we were going to do a presentation.
Right.
Oh, that's right. It never happened.
It never happened.
I have to do it retrospectively.
Everyone becomes friends. That's the problem.
Yeah, let's go to the pub.
Or formality flies out the window.
I saw that.
But hang on, where's my certificate?
At the end of the course, am I right in thinking that all students take part in an exhibition?
Yes, we have an end of year show, and the students are expected to have at least 5 pieces of sculpture that are moulded and cast, they are given the responsibility of actually curating the show and doing helping with the publicity. And I like to oversee the curating, make sure that it's all right. But it's down to them, really.
Yeah. So this is like a whole monumental journey, isn't it, to go on? And we're going to talk in a second about like where you are today. You've just won an award. You're going in leaps and bounds. I was just going to say from another student, Louis, who did the 1-year course. So the work he created during his course, and obviously Andy was like super grateful for all your brilliant teaching. He said, but he used it to create a portfolio of sculpture, and he's working in Florence at the moment. So that 1-year course, like Lucit's launched you into your animal sculpting career, and you're going great guns. And then Louis, the 1-year course, has launched him in sort of Florence. So yeah, it's like such a springboard, isn't it, for whatever you want to do with your sculpting career. But
there's nowhere else that teaches this
kind of
thing.
Yeah.
No. No, but I do find it incredibly exciting that Louis went on to study in Florence, actually, because it's all about creating this fantastic portfolio. It's so difficult to make it as an artist, to actually earn money doing it. I'll ask anybody who's in this how difficult it is. You really have to have a lot of courage and self-belief and the ability to face huge odds, really. I really take my hat off to anybody that does it. But what Louis is doing, I find fantastic. The fact that we played a part in him going to Florence, and the fact that he's got the opportunity to do that. I'd have given anything when I started my career to have the expertise that we're teaching now. But also the wherewithal to be able to go to Florence and study there. It's a privilege.
Well, it's the basis, the foundation that he's got from studying at the sculpture school.
And also, is that classical background, I think, is so valuable. I really am so pleased that the Italians kept that whole ethos going, which has been going since the Renaissance. It's absolutely incredible what they've done. And it's still there now, still doing the same thing.
Andy, I was going to ask, what was Lucy like as a student? You have to be nice,
do you want the polite version?
Well, I'm intrigued. Where can this go?
No, I was always fascinated by Lucy's background. And it is a privilege. We get students come from all over the world, actually, from all sorts of different backgrounds. And listening to Lucy's stories about the chimpanzees and so on it's amazing. And then to have her here at the studio and watch her development has been fantastic, because she one of the things I strongly believe in, actually, and I've stated it on previous podcasts, is that it's not the business of artists to have degrees, because it's not a degree subject. It's not appropriate. This sense that somehow degrees or having a degree makes us all equal is not true. But I think, and I really believe, that an apprenticeship is the way forwards. And Lucy working in the studio with us, so we're not teaching her anymore, but she's in the studio with us, and if things go wrong or something needs to happen, immediately there is help at hand.
There's fallback, isn't there?
And there's a fallback and a protection there.
Yeah.
And we work with Lucy now on a kind of it's bartering. Yeah. So Lucy helps out with the teaching, and
in exchange for
workshop time, and it works really well. And to watch her career develop, to me, it's been very exciting. Actually, really exciting to see her. Well, she's just won an award, and now what happened that you were talking about?
Oh, yes. It's as a result of that particular exhibition. It was at Nature and Art in Gloucestershire. The exhibition was separate from Nature and Art, but it's held there every year. But I used to live in that area, and I used to drive past Nature and Art all the time, thinking, wow, because of my passion for both animals and for art. I thought, God, I really must go there. That looks a fascinating place. And I never got around to it. And this was like over 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And then, so it's quite funny to end up as an exhibition there, all this time later. And I won the Sculptor Award at this particular exhibition. And I also, a snow leopard sculpture that I created, sold on the first day.
That must
in the first couple of hours.
Which is brilliant.
So
incredible.
And such a sense of validation as well, because I think when you start out, when anyone starts out on something new, we can feel sort of imposters. And then to see other people recognise what you do and really appreciate and love what you do and want what you produce. Yeah,
I think because what I'm doing now, it's a combination of, I do a lot of dog sculpture. I'm passionate about dogs anyway, but it's so that's one particular market. But also, there's on the other hand, there's the other thread of it, I suppose, is the wildlife. And so I'm trying to sort of do both, in unison. So to be a part of these incredible wildlife art exhibitions is, means a lot to me. But this particular one, I an email today actually from somebody who specialises in big cats in the UK, free ranging big cats in the UK, who's curating a whole event there and invited me to put in some of my work for that.
So
it's going to be filmed and everything. So that's so it's those little things that come out of the unexpected little things as well, because I'm exhibiting in a lot of places at the moment and seems to be going very well.
Because I think when I first came into my role as creative arts exec at the Sculpture School, I think you were just about to exhibit at RHS Rosemore Gardens. Is that right? Or you were preparing for that?
Yeah.
So was that your first exhibition?
No, I've done quite a few in various places.
Yeah.
But Rosemore,
but they're
very good.
Prestigious, really well respected centres and for different sort of charities and all kinds of things. Lucy, could you tell us a little bit about the sculptures you've brought with you today?
Okay. Well, this particular one, it's you're talking about things being sort of confirmational. And this was very confirmational. When I was going back to when I was a very lost teenager, I was about 14, and very unhappy, didn't know where I belonged in the world at all, like many teenagers do. But I got very obsessed with Brian Froud's books. This sort of fantasy art and fairy lands and all that stuff that he created and still creates, which was incredible. And there was just something about it that I completely resonated with at the time, when I was so lost and so young. And it was almost like an anchor to something that spoke to me very deeply, I suppose.
How old were you when that happened?
I was about 14.
That's exactly the
Yes,
same
I
time
know,
I discovered his book.
Yeah.
Exactly the same time.
And
we're the same age, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, 25.
Yeah. Yes. Give or take. Yes.
It wasn't that long ago, really.
Isn't it? Just yesterday. Yes, last week. But anyway, so that original book I had of his, The Land of Fraud, I literally loved that book to death. I poured and poured and poured over it. I copied pictures, all sorts of things, until it just fell apart. And I actually only got rid of it, I suppose, and because of multiple moves and things a couple of years ago. But I'd had it all that time until then. It dissolved.
The sign of a good book.
Yes, very good. And then it was at an exhibition at the Sculptor School. Was it last year?
It was the 1 year show, wasn't it? I think it was 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
Was it?
I think it was.
Good grief.
I can't remember. Anyway, yes, it was at a show. Not that long ago.
Show anyway.
Yes. Not that long ago. And I've never met the Frauds, and I didn't know that they were even there. So yes, Andy and I invited them, and I was just sort of chatting to friends and Di came up to me and said, "Oh, Brian and Wendy Froud want to buy one of your pieces." I'm like, "What? They're here? Really?" And it was this little hound here, which they called the fairy hound. It was like something coming sort of full circle for that they saw something in my work and resonated with that in the way that I'd seen something in what Brian did all those years ago and resonated with that. So it was like something. It was incredibly confirmational. It was cyclical,
and also like a connection from the past,
and
how something from the past. It's a bit like Andy in one of the earlier podcasts. We talked about how, I think it might have been the first podcast. We talked about how you did an art course or some sculpture or something for 3 weeks, and then it like later on when you were being was it a courier, and then you remembered that course, and you were like, so something back in time that you've done a long time ago, or like looking through Brian's book a long time ago when you were 14, and then years later you're connected.
For me, I think with my sculpting, it was a pivotal moment.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
Because it was so confirmational of. Because I won't lie. I'm not wealthy. Far from it. And it's been a struggle. It's really. I do this because I have to do it, and it's a passion. And there's nothing else I'd rather be doing or can do. Frankly, it's pretty unemployable. But it was that moment. It was something that made me realise I'm doing the right thing.
I think that's a good point to bring out, though, that with art and like all the artists that I've met and known, sculptors and things, quite often people are able to make a living and an income from it. Sometimes it can be peaks and troughs. Sometimes you get lucky and you'll get some incredible commissions, and it's plain sailing and you can really sort of bank some serious money then. But it's not like a corporate job when you've got a regular salary going in. So we kind of like all of us in the creative sector have to be prepared to sort of have a bit of a roller coaster ride sometimes.
I think like you say, it's up and down, but it's also it's a slow burn.
Yes,
and when you're sort of starting out, it's about just keeping going, trying to get out as much work as possible to as many places as possible for exposure,
and also to have sold a piece. At your first exhibition.
That was the second one.
Oh, was it the second one?
I sold the first one as well.
It's getting a bit boring now, actually. One thing I would like to say about this is that pivotal moment was enhanced by the fact that you then went round to deliver it to Brian and Wendy's house.
And it's in their living room.
Anybody that has been to Brian and Wendy's house has lived through an experience, because it is an experience. It's incredible. There's no house like it anywhere.
Feels like they should open their door. Just like lesser beings.
I think they're going to have to be guests. We've talked about them so much.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely get them over as guests.
So, Lucy, what was the name? What do you call this sculpture?
It's her official name is Reflection. But she's sort of AKA Fairy Hound.
Fairy Hound.
Anyone who knows her calls her Fairy Hound.
I can see why that fits. Could you tell everyone a little bit about the other sculptures?
This one is I've I've done a couple of snow leopards. This was the first one. I just started it as a portrait. And the second one I did was a stalking snow leopard. So more, full body or half body rather. Yeah, it's like I've worked with various species over the years. And I think when I get inspired by something, I want to know everything about it. And it's like looking under, what, like I was saying earlier, but, what makes it tick? What makes it unique? What makes it intrinsically itself? And, so I watch videos, research a subject, learn as much as I can about, the snow leopards are incredible and the way that they can jump like no other cat can jump as far as they can. And the fact they've got these incredibly long tails to help themselves balance and, so on. So it's just that for me, with anything I sculpt, it becomes an obsession almost, and an immersion into that particular species.
In our last podcast, so podcast 5, we were talking about putting emotion in faces, and we were talking about the human face then. But I was thinking of the different emotions in these two sculptures because they are very different. Like they're
very evocative.
Yeah, like looking at fairy dog, is that right?
Yeah, fairy hound.
Fairy hound, and it's very demure.
Yes,
and
she's a sensitive soul.
Yeah, contemplative and reflective and. Sensitive. And then I look at the snow leopard.
I would like to say that she did put a massive grin on this before. And we had to say, cut the grin.
Yeah, it's tongue out.
It just, because I thought it was a male and I had like a little phrase for it, which might be.
You did, which I love. It's fine.
And my friend has got this, it's like it's a bit of a crude phrase, like BDE. Do you all know what BDE means?
I do know.
Not really sure.
I was told, but I've forgotten naturally.
Do you think it's too crude for me to say? Maybe it is. I'll let listeners look up. Anyway, because I thought it was a male snow leopard, I thought it had BDE. Like, it's kind of like...
It has swagger.
Yeah, it has swagger, exactly that. But obviously it's a female snow leopard.
Doesn't matter. Still has swagger.
Just looking at her face, it's just like the concentration in her eyes.
Yeah.
And the expression, the emotion is so different between the two sculptures.
Yeah. It's about understanding the intent.
Yeah.
What's happening in that particular moment and capturing a moment.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say about Lucy's work as well is that from the moulding and casting course, Andy also teaches patination. And so he started you off on your patination and you've now developed your own style of patinating, which is quite different to the effects that we sometimes have.
It's wrong.
It might be wrong, but it's Lucy.
And it's unique.
No, it's fantastic. I just love the way that she's developed it. It's
developed your own style.
Yeah. And like so many students before, she'd have to teach me how to do this. And I think that's fantastic.
But I think for me it was, I couldn't get the effects that I wanted using the sort of traditional techniques and things. So I just had to find my own way of doing it. And because I wanted something that was very sort of soft and with the sort of tonal qualities of fur.
There's always something ceramic about it, actually.
I was just going to say, they look like they're ceramic, even though they're not. And that gives it a different feel altogether.
It's very clever.
It's just, the snow leopard's so mesmerising as well, because they talk about the Mona Lisa, and you feel like her eyes are watching you. And I feel like that with the snow leopard. Like its gaze, like constant gaze. But they're both so beautiful in like completely different ways. Where do you see yourself going in the future, Lucy, with your sculpture?
I'd just like to have a sustainable life, really. Be able to sustain myself and my dogs into the future doing this. I don't see myself ever not doing it. It's, like I said, it's a slow burn. So at the moment, I really have my nose to the ground, my head to the grindstone, and I'm just working at it. And,
it's why you're getting the results you're getting, I think. You're really.
If you don't work, you don't have the luck, do you?
Yeah, and also I would point out that right at this moment, galleries are having a really bad time. They just can't sell anything. Nobody's buying because people are worried about the economy. Lucy is selling, and you're almost doing it, touch wood, on a weekly basis, which is very exciting at the moment.
Just shows,
and it does come from this hard work. And
it does.
It's not luck.
actually, when I was doing my first master's out in rural Cameroon, in the middle of nowhere, I was on this very, very long journey through like forests and things, and there were logging routes cut through them, which is the only reason there were any tracks at all going through these very remote areas. And there were these sort of little, townships and things that had sprung up on the sort of sides of the roads, and very, very desperately poor people living in these little shacks and things. And I remember it was a particularly, I won't go into the details, but it was a particularly difficult and brutal field study period that I had out there. But I remember driving past this little shack, and on the side of it, somebody had written, "Nothing good comes easy."
Yeah.
And it really stuck with me, and it really resonates with me. And that's become my sort of mantra. And I think it's not about life has to be a struggle necessarily, although it can be. But it's about, when you really, really, really want something and you really, really strive for it, it has so much more value. And that's the good that comes out of, very hard work.
It gives you creative energy as well, doesn't it? Because you're like so driven, because one, you need to make a living, but also two, you've got all that kind of frustration of years when you've wanted to do something and now you've found your passion. So like the two forces combined, like the need to make a living, the need to get your name out there, make your work a success, kind of really drives you. And then when you have like exhibitions and you've got to prepare work for the exhibitions, you've got some deadlines, so it's like keeps you focused, doesn't it?
But when it pays off, it means so much more.
Yeah, of course.
Because I've put everything into it.
But it's a massive risk, and you need courage to take that risk.
Yeah.
And you've done both.
The BDE.
We feel that about the sculpture school as well, don't we? In the sense that we keep on working because we want it to grow and develop, and there's no quick fix. It's been a moderate burn, hasn't it, in terms of the way it's grown? It hasn't just gone pow.
No.
And it's not linear.
It's not linear at all. And you'll be
just
set by problems and fantastic events at different times.
I think it's also that the community that's there
absolutely
make a massive difference.
That's true.
Yeah.
Coffee breaks are great fun.
Yeah.
Coffee breaks are far too long. But I think they're really important, actually.
They have good biscuits, though.
We have good biscuits and good coffee.
Yeah.
But I think it's like mutually encouraging each other, isn't it? Because I think when you're in this kind of sector, there are different challenges, and as we've discussed before, like financial challenges, you've got kind of trying to get your work out there, trying to be known, all sorts of other issues as well. And it's just, your true grit and resilience has to come out, doesn't it? You have to be persistent and tenacious.
But also, I think being an artist of any description can be very lonely.
It can be.
And having that community and other people who know what it's like, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And also, I think your course in particular, the group of you have created a really lovely bond, and you all support each other, but you all still come to the studio so that you can share progress and problems and silly times, it's and still keep learning.
And the fact that all our work's so different, that's also...
I think one of the main problems for artists, and we certainly found it on that course that we did with Brian and Wendy, is that artists or people that are creatives feel isolated, and you certainly felt that during your lifetime, and I've certainly felt it during mine, is that you're a bit weird. There is an isolation there. Obviously, I'm not. I'm an exception. A bit weird. But we met people there that are in an environment where you should be doing a 9-to-5 job. And if you're not doing a 9-to-5 job, what are you playing at? And that makes you isolated. It puts you in a place where it's difficult to feel strong and secure. And I feel very strongly that the sculpture school and the environment that we create should protect the creative side. People, it's very important.
I think that's such a good point to make, because I feel that we should all stop apologising for being creative and not having a proper job, as in the sort of like technical meaning of that term. That we are creating something that keeps, as we've discussed before, keeps human beings sane. When we create art, we're perpetuating culture. We're enabling discussions. We're realising what life is all about, because, that's what art does. It connects us with the world around us. Lucy, you've got an exhibition coming up in London too. Am I right in thinking that?
Have I?
Is it with
I've got a few.
The Buckingham Palace. The small things. Forgotten all about it.
I've got with the students.
There are a few different ones. There's one in Torquay at Artisan Gallery, which is coming up frighteningly soon.
Okay, you'll be fine.
Both of these guys are going to be there.
Oh, incredible!
And that's sometime in June.
Okay.
It is June. My God. Okay. And I'm taking a piece up to it's the Chelsea Art Society.
Yeah, just the Chelsea Art Society.
Yeah, they've got an exhibition, and which I've got to take up to also in June, a couple of weeks' time. Yeah, a couple of others, and then there's myself and two other previous students doing an art fair at Chelsea Town Hall in September.
No, it's just so amazing to see that you've gone from, that kind of anxious person on the first day of being at the sculpture school to now you're exhibiting in all these kind of illustrious places and selling on day one and winning awards. And also because you're teaching now, aren't you? You do an animal taster day that you teach yourself, don't you, at the sculpture school? So anyone listening to this can come and learn with Andy, and they can also come and learn animal sculpture, the taster day with you now, can't they? Or they can work with both of you when you both teach the 4-day animal courses. What's it like to teach other students?
It's a bit daunting, but it's actually really fun.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, with anything, it's, when I first started assisting Andy in the courses, I had to keep myself, I do actually probably know more than they do. So I'll be all right.
Yeah. It's terrifying to start with.
It is scary to start with. And, but it's also, when people go away with something they're really, really happy with, and say they've had a good time and everything, that's, that means everything.
Then it's validation, isn't it?
Yes, it's validation, absolutely.
No. So it sounds as though...
We're quite nice to them.
Yeah, no. Well, I think we should just reiterate, what a lovely atmosphere there is at the sculpture school, isn't there? And that sense of community.
I think it's also a thing of making the teaching fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be fun, humorous, and putting people at their ease.
Yeah.
I think it's really important, because people don't believe in themselves. Most people that come on the course were told when they were 13 that they were crap at art by their teachers.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. And even if you're not going to be brilliant, and there are loads of people out there that are good jobbing sculptors, good jobbing artists, they're never going to be brilliant. But the joy that they get from it is just the same. And it's so important, all of that. It's the joy you get from it. And the level that you reach, doesn't matter what that is.
Yeah.
It's about that feeling. It's the key to it all, I think.
There's also, I think there's another aspect to sculpting, which is there's a fantastic author called Diane who wrote a book called Deep Play. And it's about the sort of the way that children immerse themselves in a task, and they're totally involved in that, and nothing else exists. And you have to see it in other species, so I see it in other species as well. And as adults, we tend to lose that.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's something about when you're doing something that's tactile and purely creative, and you go into that zone, and where the sort of the dopamine's flowing. And I studied neuroscience as part of my dog stuff, so quite
This
keen
is
on
fact.
This is fact. It actually happens. That it is that absolute focus that you get with a surge of sort of dopamine in the brain. It's actually really, really therapeutic, and it cools the nervous system as well. So
yeah, because there's such a joy in learning, isn't there? And
but even just that thing of creating, of being, because you're using it's like sort of different modes. Really. Yeah, exactly. So you're using your hands, which engage your brain in one way, your vision, the more sort of sentient part of your brain that's engaged in what you want to achieve or whatever. It's just all those things coming together. And it's just, sorry, I didn't explain that very well at all.
No, you have.
You did.
Yeah.
That's good.
You did, and it's why people say they found it really therapeutic when they come on the courses. They didn't realise that 4 days could just whiz by.
Yeah.
And they've been so immersed in what they're creating that they've forgotten all about their problems and the issues and the emails and the bills, because it's kind of meditative, really.
It is.
So
It becomes a retreat.
Yes.
Which I never saw happening.
Yeah.
Never saw that.
I think, but it's such an important thing, though.
It is, yeah.
It really is.
Critical.
Yeah.
Andy, just as one quick addition as well, because in the last going back a few podcasts, we talked about the 34 most important muscles in the human body that you teach students, and I remember you saying that when you teach the animal sculpture on the 4-day courses, there are 24 important muscles in an animal to remember. Can you just say a little bit about that, if you
List
feel
all 24 now.
This is your test.
Give you a test.
We'll test you.
Yeah. You got that wrong. No, go on. I just wondered if you could.
Yeah, no, but the important thing about this is that in the early 1800s, a French anatomist called Georges Cuvier created comparative anatomy. And that is comparing the human anatomy that we live with and we see every day with animals. And the essence of that in its simplest form is that from your hip, the next joint is your knee joint. From your knee joint, your next joint is your heel and ankle. And animals are the same. We're all the same. And it's how the anatomy of animals works. It stops people putting 2 knees on, which I've seen before. In fact, I've done it before myself, because you're not understanding the joints. And that's the essence behind it. The inner muscles of the legs and the arms on animals are less visible. So all the muscles on the inside of the thigh, that's vastus medialis here, the rectus femoris muscle here, none of those are relevant to animals. Although they have them, you can't see them, so there's no point in putting them in. That's why there's less muscles on an animal, which is fascinating, because if you study animal anatomy, and you know it as well as I do, because both of us study it, it's more complicated than human anatomy, because a tiger will have different muscles from, a house cat, actually. It'll have different muscles from a horse. They've got different names as well. And that makes it staggeringly difficult. So you've got this really strange situation where actually vets need to study longer than doctors need to study in order to be able to understand animal anatomy and animal health. But in art, it's actually simpler, because you focus on what makes the animal look right. And those muscles are simpler, even though the reality of it is they're much more complex. And therein lies the importance of education, because you won't see it otherwise. And if you try and study animal anatomy from a good book, Elliot Goldfinger's book on animal anatomy for sculpture is brilliant, but it's very highbrow.
Yeah.
And all you'll do is get bogged down if you read it. So it's important to come and study with us, because it cuts through all of that and gives you something that's really refined.
It's also that thing, with animals, obviously with humans as well, but it's what happens to the body in motion as well. Because as soon as you start putting motion to something, it becomes about problem solving. So that you won't find any references that'll tell you what's going on. You have to understand it in order to make sense of it.
Yeah, because I guess I was just thinking of when I work with painters and things, and they talk about foreshortening and that kind of thing. I guess you've got similar things when you're sculpting. You've got, if you've got an animal in motion and you've got some aspects of the animal that you're depending on how the sculpture's going to focus, like whether it's, like head on, like your snow leopard here. So there's certain elements that you're going to have to bring more attention to, make bigger than other elements. So
there's no perspective in sculpture, though, is there?
No, it's the opposite.
Okay. Yes.
So the one thing that drawing
Yeah.
and painting has,
Right.
it's all about perspective.
so
In
that's-
sculpture,
yeah.
perspective becomes your worst enemy.
So that's something I've learnt today,
Yeah.
because I didn't know that.
And it's about finding multiple sources that give you all those clues
right. Okay.
about what something is, what's actually happening with the animal in movement.
It's like you're a detective.
Yeah.
You've got to solve the problems that stop your sculpture from looking totally convincing.
Yeah. But that's so much fun.
It is so much fun.
Yeah. I think like you just all sound so passionate about what you do, and that's it's just so lovely to hear, 3 people talking about something they feel intensely for after being involved in this now for for both of you, a long time, and Lucy more recently.
Much longer than me.
Yeah. But we're just sort of wrapping up the podcast now, and in a second we're going to talk about what courses we've got upcoming and so on. But Lucy, is there something that you would like to say to anyone listening to this podcast who is, maybe just desperate for a career change, or perhaps or they could be feeling a bit lost like you were? What would you say?
I say it's about there comes a point in life where you have to sort of follow your heart.
Yeah.
One thing, it's about what's right for you at a certain time, whatever stage of your life. Some people are lucky that they know very early on, what their route and what they want to do, and can focus on that. But it's never too late.
Yeah.
There was something I saw on TV very recently, actually, and it was the piano on Channel 4, and there was a lady on there. She was 87, and she'd wanted to be a concert pianist her entire life. And then at the age of 87, she went onto the stage in front of 2,500 people for the first time, and was brilliant.
Wow.
87. And she said, if you've got a dream, it's never too late.
No, absolutely.
And that
That's so
proves
true.
it.
It is so true.
Yeah.
And every day is a brand new day to start learning something,
absolutely.
isn't it?
I feel young, I don't feel old.
Yeah.
Cool.
Age is a mindset, and I think that
It is a mindset, definitely.
Yeah. And I think it can be such a positive mindset if you're doing what you love.
Yes.
If you feel that you're able to sort of direct your life so that you feel fulfilled in the areas you need to be.
And I think it's really easy to think, oh, it's too late, or I can't do that, or find lots of reasons not to do something.
Yeah.
But it's, it doesn't hurt to give something a try.
Yeah.
And understand that, it might make you feel vulnerable and stupid, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because we all feel like that at
we all
certain
have
times.
To start at the beginning, don't
absolutely.
we?
And it's exciting as well.
Yeah. It's like, I can't remember who said it was an artist, and his just quote was like, try and enjoy the journey. And it is that whole thing of, we always want to get to like the end result when we've made it or whatever. But actually the whole journey, the whole process is kind of the alchemy that takes you to that.
It's kind of
point.
finding your dharma, as they say in yoga. It's finding your purpose and your true spirit.
Yeah.
And we're lucky that we've found it now. Really.
And many people never do.
No, they never do.
And I think, because I did do some sculpture, when I was, a lot younger, 35 years ago or something now. I sort of, part of me thinks, what if I'd just carried on with it then, and I've been way ahead of where I am now and all of this.
Yeah.
But I think of everything else I've done and how that's actually fed into it.
Yeah.
And, it's been a very much a voyage of discovery in lots of different ways.
It's been an incredible
rich
life.
novel, really, isn't it? That you've created.
It is really amazing.
I think you've all been, like, listening to all of you, I think you've all been so brave, because I think so many people live a half life, don't they?
Yes.
You hear so many.
People do.
Yeah, I was talking to some teachers the other day, and they were like, we just live for the holidays, or we're living we're sort of like, we're going to do this until we can get our pension and we can retire. And you just think that's no way to live. Like, life is so precious.
Absolutely.
And you just, like, when you find what you love and you take the leap of faith and go for it, the joy that you get.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a period long periods of my life where I felt as if there was almost if there was a sheet of glass between me and who I should be, or could be, or there was something stopping me, all the time.
Yeah.
And there wasn't. It was just, it was timing and not thing of being neurodivergent, not understanding that. All those things have sort of brought me to the point of knowing who I am.
And
it's very interesting. I always felt that I was looking at life from outside, that I wasn't part of it. It's an interesting thing, that. It's probably just an artistic thing, really, or autistic.
Or both.
Just knowing there's a different and a better life for you that you could be living. Yeah. And then how do you get to that point? But
exactly.
It's time to wrap up.
Well, I was just before we wrap up, I was going to say that the lovely thing about all of this Dharma, is that it's never ending. Because there is no point at which you know it all. There's no point where you become a consummate expert.
No,
you just are good, but you're always getting better. You're always improving,
and you feel like you're in the right place inside. Really.
And that learning is fantastic. It makes you like a child seeing the world for the first time. All these rules of thumb, this anatomy, and so on. It's just fascinating. And you know how that feels when you're looking at a dog running, for example, a whippet or something running. It's a fantastic thing to see. It's that sort of, it's like poetry in motion. It really is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Before we end, was there anything anybody wanted to say about?
Yes, I have got something.
Go on.
Before you wrap up again.
I keep trying.
She's pretending.
I keep trying.
I just wanted to say that it's a privilege for us to be able to watch Lucy grow and to see other students do that.
Yeah. Oh,
thank you.
No, it's like I'm a relative newcomer to the sculpture school, but I feel like so inspired when I come in and I see like Lucy, like Steve, like Andy, like Kate. Of trying to think of Kate, and there's another younger.
Kira. Lovely Kira.
Yeah, lovely Kira. Like everyone coming in, doing their thing. There's like magic being created and beautiful works of art. It's exciting, and it's just like so inspiring. So,
but it's also ordinary as well. It's great.
Yeah.
But
anyone can fit.
Anyone can fit every day.
It's happy. It's such a happy place, and anyone can fit in from whatever stage, as we've said before, whatever stage you are at it in life, whatever demographic, everyone's welcome. So that's it. But just before we go, here are some upcoming courses. Go for it, Diane.
Well, as we've been talking about animals, we have got the animal course in July on the 22nd, and we've also got animal portrait in August, the 19th.
Animal course, so you mean animal figurative? So like the whole body of the animal?
Yeah, the animal is the whole figure. And then it's the animal portrait, which is the little portrait heads.
Which Lucy runs now.
More or less.
No.
He just disappears. Where's Andy? I don't know.
They're all very at home with each other now.
Anyway.
And also just as a reminder that there is accommodation that you can book to stay at our lovely sculpture school, and you can book that. You don't have to come and sculpt. You can just book and stay there to get the vibe of sculpture. But also you can book and stay there whilst you sculpt. And and also just to say, please send in your questions, because we'd love to start getting regular questions coming into the podcast, and we will pick a question every episode. And also please hit subscribe to our podcast, and please share us with your friends. Tell people about our podcast, because that's the way we're going to spread all of this sculpture knowledge. But thank you everyone so much. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Lily. That's brilliant.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.